Today in Santa Clara, the vibe is different. 4 moves shook the locker room, the call sheet, and the immediate future. A behind-the-scenes decision revives an old weapon in the playbook. A medical update tilts the division chessboard. A rarely mentioned name might become a key on offense, and a veteran silenced critics with a captain's performance. Want to know if this reshapes the Super Bowl window in September? You won't believe what we've got today. So take a seat, hit that like button, and let's dive straight into the news. Deep breath, Niner Nation. The tide turned, and the next bend hides a twist. Let's face it, when a pillar of your offense hits IR, you don't patch the playbook with duct tape. You build a power valve. That's exactly what's on the table in Santa Clara. The chatter started quietly, centered on multiplying heavy looks, relighting 12 personnel, and giving the run game its gravity back. A name circulated behind closed doors, popped up on trade candidate lists, and the rumor gained traction. The more you connect the dots, the more the equation makes sense. Protect the offense's physical identity without burning draft capital. The clue snaps into focus when we look at Buffalo. There, a tight end with red zone pedigree, power forward length, and a willingness to dirty his gloves as a blocker has seen his role fluctuate since a young TE1 took the spotlight. Add a meaningful 2025 cap hit that gets any front office's attention and lubricates discussions. From our perspective, the logic is crystal clear. Without Kittle, a piece with a trustworthy vertical route profile and short yardage toughness restores immediate balance. The price? The internal debate runs through day 3 conditionals, snap count triggers, and a renegotiation that aligns the cap and the title window. Yes, we're talking about Dawson Knox. 6'4", 254 pounds, 2019 third-round pick, a track record of tight area touchdowns, and a steady tape as a complementary piece. In this system, he'd be the perfect bridge. Hold the fort as the interim TE1, and when Kittle returns, become the hammer in a 12-personnel package that stresses the edge, sells the boot, and punishes hesitant linebackers with a delayed leak. The technical fit writes itself. Outside zone with double force at the edge, cross-action play action to isolate safeties, and wing alignment to steal pursuit angles. On third and short, he's chain insurance. In the red zone, he forces defenses to drop a safety into the box and opens isolation for the X-receivers. But it's not just the call sheet, it's the locker room. The message to the roster is ambition. Even banged up, we stay aggressive. The fan base already reacted. Some love the idea of a Kittle light, maintaining the offense's physical standard. Others worry about the cap ceiling and renting talent for half a season. Fair points. The counterweight is the versatility it unlocks. 13 personnel in 4-minute offense, clock control on division road trips, and a safety valve that speeds up the quarterback's reads, reducing unnecessary hits while the line settles. There's a market too. At least one competitor has already checked in with the Bills, which changes the bargaining game. Rivals window shop, price check, and test limits. The front office measures risk, cost, and window. If there's a smart restructure with converted bonuses and comp pick potential down the road, the math works without sacrificing 2026. And if the price spikes, there are free agents mapped from workouts who preserve the strategy without opening the vault. The bottom line is simple. Either we fortify our identity with weight, or we let the schedule dictate our style. And that wasn't even the most surprising part of the day. Breath. When people see 2-0, many stop at the scoreboard. But if you think it through, the backbone of this start has a name and a philosophy. Robert Saleh, the coordinator's return, turned 2 games that had every reason to slip away into wins that held the season in the palm of the hand. And it wasn't luck. It was razor-sharp execution. It was system. In Seattle, everything looked off. Purdy threw 2 picks. The run game stalled and fans chewed their nails. Who decided it late? Nick Bosa, a stadium lifter of a strip sack that sealed it. Against the Saints, the picture was even heavier. No Purdy, no Kittle, and half the receiver room down. Mac Jones surprised, but when it got tight, the defense had to shut the door. And it did. Bryce Huff blew up New Orleans' front, ripped the ball at the edge, and stamped 2-0 on the ledger. What stands out is the coherence. Saleh's philosophy is clear. Coverage that concedes short grass but doesn't break deep. 4-man rush to help coverage without exposing the back end to blitz. A defensive line rotation to keep pressure fresh through the final snap. It sounds simple, but it only works with elite execution. Bosa and Huff are proving it. The kicker. That duo wasn't here last year, when Nick Sorensen's unit wilted in fourth quarters. Today, the feeling is confidence. If the offense slips, the defense holds. The fans feel the shift. Feeds filled with takes on the Saleh effect, and the relief of a solid plan again. Sure, questions remain. Without deep rotation, can the formula last 17 games? Will the offense put too much strain on the defense? Those are fair, but the consistency of the first 2 weeks suggests this is the path, at least in the short term. The strategic ripple is the best part. With a defense that tightens late, Shanahan can push earlier, keep Mac Jones in a controlled rhythm, and avoid burning the entire playbook in September. That confidence reverberates across the roster. If fans exhale, rivals frown, the message is simple. San Francisco won't cough up games late. That forces every opponent to rethink how to script a matchup. But hang on, because what's next is even more unbelievable. What really makes hearts race is the drama around the starting quarterback. Brock Purdy, who turned doubt into hope in past seasons, is now racing the clock. The storyline started messy. First, the idea he might only miss one game, then whispers of up to 5 weeks. The way information whipsawed only raised anxiety. Then a weighty update offered real relief. There's a real chance Purdy returns sooner, maybe by week 4, ahead of that brutal clash with the Rams. Think with me, it's not just recovery time, it's strategy. Forcing a return can be fatal, especially after years when injuries haunted Santa Clara. But if Purdy comes back whole and commands the offense down the stretch of September, the season's narrative flips. Against the Saints and Cardinals, Mac Jones can hold the fort with help from the defense. But when the calendar circles a Thursday night in Los Angeles against a division rival, you want your general on the field. The fan base lives in limbo, one side preaching patience, afraid of rushing steps and aggravating the injury. The other already pictures Purdy firing to Ayuk and Jennings, carving a path to forward one that turns the opening month into playoff fuel. Both views make sense. The staff must balance urgency and caution, because every decision now echoes in January. It's the classic dilemma: protect the present or invest in the immediate future. You can't ignore the psychology. The roster sees more than stats in Purdy. They see leadership and resilience. His presence changes the posture of the line, the receivers, even the defense, which knows it doesn't have to save everything alone. That cascade effect is as valuable as any TD. That's why every update on his progress trends, every limited practice becomes a talking point. The mystery around the injury only feeds a soap opera that has everyone hooked. And here's the cherry on top. If Purdy returns in time, San Francisco can stack division wins early and control January's path. If not, Jones gets the chance to prove his value, but with razor-thin margin for error. It's a chessboard where each move can define the season. And while we're freaking out about that, the next twist involves unexpected heroes nobody thought would shine so soon. When it felt like the team needed stars to carry everything, 2 unexpected pieces rewrote the script in New Orleans and reignited debates about roster depth. The first answer came on offense with Jaquan Jennings. Coming off a week of shoulder pain and status doubts, he didn't just play, he led the team in receiving yards, averaging nearly 18 per catch. More than numbers, these were grabs on critical downs. Conversions that sustained drives, and a jolt of confidence for an offense short on trustworthy targets without Kittle and Ayuk. Jennings became a courage example. He limped in and left to a roar. The strategic wrinkle matters. Jennings isn't a classic WR1, but his slot work opened the playbook. With nearly a third of his snaps inside, he created mismatches against slower linebackers, forced missed tackles, and gave the quarterback immediate relief on short to intermediate routes. That steadied the offense and kept the Saints from swallowing the pocket. In turn, the unit found rhythm and held the scoreboard in check. Fans noticed and already want Jennings to keep a bigger role even when veterans return. It's the kind of good problem Shanahan loves. On the other side, Bryce Huff showed exactly why he was acquired, to be the defense's closer. After a quiet debut in Seattle, he exploded in New Orleans. Pressures, sacks, a forced fumble, and above all, inevitability. When the clock squeezed, there was Huff bullying the right tackle and snuffing the Saints' rally in the crib. Statistically, it was a show, a pass rush grade north of 90, the second best productivity rate only behind Bosa, and multiple game-swinging plays. Not just performance, a statement. The 49ers' defensive rotation is more than one superstar. What's fascinating is how it rebalances the roster. Huff and Bosa are now the spine of a NASCAR package that includes promising youth and gives Saleh a third-down weapon at the elite tier. And with Jennings keeping the offense off the ropes, the case strengthens that roster depth can offset absences from headline names. The message is clear. This team doesn't live by Purdy, Kittle, or Ayuk alone. There are guys ready for the fight who can flip games and entire narratives, which brings us to the unavoidable question. If the so-called secondary pieces are already shining, how far can this team go when everyone's healthy? If you've made it this far, you can see the blueprint. A physical identity on offense, cold-blooded defense in the fourth quarter, and a locker room that doesn't sway with the tide. Smart rumors show aggression, the QB's recovery puts ambition back on track, and secondary pieces prove they can carry games. In September, that's gold. Now it's your turn. Which move changes the season's course the most? A TE to unlock 12 personnel Purdy's return, or the Bosa-Huff duo closing games? Drop a comment, debate it, push back, and of course hit like, subscribe, turn on notifications, and come back every day.